What's up, guys? Welcome back to racingdudes.com. And for another week, I should say, we are going to have a Breeders' Cup Classic rankings update. Like I've said on the last few videos we've done, I do vote in the media poll for the top 10 Breeders' Cup horses each week. And I told you last week there would probably be some changes, just like there were after the Jim Dandy and after the Haskell. So here we are, and let's take a look at the changes now. And we'll go through them, and I'll spend a little time on the ones that ran last weekend and some of the other ones not so much. Cyberknife, number 10. He's been number 10 for a while since that Haskell win. I just failed to kind of move him up, but, I think he's there kind of a placeholder, and we'll see where he runs next, and maybe he can move up after that. He certainly showed the potential in the Haskell. So Cyberknife at 10, Charge It at 9. Not a lot you can say about him. He hasn't raced since the Dwyer. He's working well, and he's pointing for the Travers. So how he does in the Travers will dictate everything. If he doesn't do well, he'll fall off this list completely. And if he wins it, who knows? He could move up in a big, big way. So Charge It at number 9. We'll see what happens with him. Number 8 is Country Grammar. I said it last week. I'll say it again. I probably have him a little too low. He was second in the San Diego. That really wasn't his distance. It was also his first time running in the United States this year, coming back from Saudi and Dubai. He's probably going to move up. I probably shouldn't have him at number 8, but we'll kind of let him prove it in the Pacific Classic. He's going to match up against Flightline. Let's see how he does. But right now he's number 8. I don't think you should leave him off the list. And as you noticed, Royal Ship's the horse that beat him. I don't have him ranked because I just think when they stretch out to the Classic distance, Country Grammar is going to get the best of Royal Ship. So Country Grammar at 8, Hot Rod Charlie at number 7. He was third in the Whitney. That's Hot Rod Charlie, right? I mean, he hits the board in big time races, has trouble winning big time races. It's not impossible for him to do it. He's a very likable horse because he shows up every time with a good effort. He just struggles to win. So that's the deal. I've got him at 7 right now. Wouldn't be surprised if he hits the board in the Classic. Wouldn't be surprised if he's no threat to win. So that's just how he is, and that's what we have to accept about him and move on. Number 6 is Olympiad. You might say, well, Hot Rod Charlie beat Olympiad in the Whitney. Well, Olympiad has won a ton of races this year, and he just didn't show up at Saratoga. It was not a great effort. If you think that was the top effort for Olympiad, I think you're crazy. Now, I have him at 6. I thought about moving him down a little bit further. We talked about this on some of our preview shows. It's hard to hold a horse's form all year long, and Olympiad had been really good for a long time. We kind of talked about, hey, the Whitney, he might bounce. And I would have rather him ran a bad race and maybe bounce there than a race like the Classic. So speaking of bounces, his bounce back race, he's going to have one more race before the Classic. We'll determine it, right? I'll keep him right here in the middle. If he runs poorly in his next race, he'll come off. If he runs well, he's back in the mix. So we'll keep him at 6 for now. I'm not going to have a recency bias, right? Like, the horse has been fantastic. He just didn't run his race. He could bounce back. Don't get way down on Olympiad. Number 5, Happy Saver. And you might say, well, recency bias. There you go. He got second, and, maybe Olympiad's a better horse than him. Sure, but Happy Saver shows up every single time. It doesn't matter the race. He hits the board. I mean, he got second to Flightline. He got second to Life is Good. I'm just going to give him the credit he deserves. I think he's right up there with a shot. I don't think he has a shot to hit the board. I don't think he has any shot to win. I really didn't think he would hit the board, honestly, on Saturday, and he did. And he outran Hot Rod Charlie, and it looked like he was going to give Life is Good a little bit of a scare. You have to respect this horse. So I put him at number 5. Much respect to him. Number 4 is American Revolution. He scratched out of the Whitney. I think they're going to find him a little bit better spot to run where he can be successful. I just think his best days are still ahead of him. I really think he's progressing. I know Olympiad beat him, but I think American Revolution is going to peak at the Classic, where I think, and we documented it, Olympiad might be going down a little bit, maybe ran his best races early. So for that situation, even though Olympiad has defeated him, I just think I have American Revolution projecting to run his best race in November when it's going to matter the absolute most. So I put him at number 4, pending where we see him next. Number 3 is Epicenter. I think he's earned the right to be called the best 3-year-old going into the Travers. We'll see if he can stay at 3 and kind of defend that spot. I think he's just one with his running style now and showing that versatility. That's kind of what you're going to need. And, you can't be pace dependent one way or the other. And I don't think he is. So episode at number 3, obviously the Travers in a couple of weeks could change a lot of that. Number 2 is the Whitney winner, Life is Good. Now I've ranked Life is Good number 1 on my NTRA poll, but as far as the classic goes, I still have him number 2. I just feel like Flightline's a little bit better of a horse who I have ranked at number 1, and I think Flightline will ultimately defeat Life is Good in the Classic. But as far as who's earned the right to be called the number 1 horse in the country, I think Life is Good has earned that. He's raced more, and he's won more races. Flightline has raced once, and it's sitting here August 8th. So I didn't really want to reward him for being number 1 ranked in the country, although he might certainly end up that way. But Life is Good. A lot of people are like, oh, he doesn't want any part of a mile and a quarter and this and that. A couple of things. He might not. I would agree. But don't hold the Whitney like totally against him. The track was kind of weird. We had like a downpour, like an hour before the race. So the track was strange. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I still think he can get a mile and a quarter. I don't know if it's going to be good enough, though, to beat Flightline. He's the horse, man. And until proven otherwise, he's the one to beat. I don't know if they can beat him. We're going to find out. Pacific Classic is the key. He's number 1 right now. He's never won a mile and a quarter. If he runs well in the Pacific Classic, he's going to be number 1 going into the Breeders' Cup without any doubt. If he doesn't, he could fall totally off the list, and that's the kind of horse he is right now with the unknown distance question. The other thing is, I think he went off at like 3-1 in the Breeders' Cup future wager. He's tough to make a future wager on. He doesn't run very often. They have injury issues with him. So we'll see if he's able to kind of keep it together, get a mile and a quarter, and they're able to keep him healthy. So there's big question marks within this division. If he falls out of it, all of a sudden, this thing becomes wide open, because if Life is Good is now the favorite and he really doesn't get a mile and a quarter, now you've got a lot of different options. These two are kind of the big 2. And I think, distance aside, nobody's arguing these 2 are the most talented, right? But things can happen. Like I said, Flightline, very flighty, so to speak, whether he's going to run or not. Life is Good. The distance is a question mark. The one time he was at the distance, he lost over Dubai. So there's still a lot of question marks right now as far as when we get to November. But as far as on top, Flightline deserves to be number 1 in my opinion. He looks like a freak. Life is Good. Looks pretty freaky as well. So that's the updated top 10 Breeders' Cup Classic rankings. It'll be a slow next couple of weeks as far as these rankings are concerned. And then we have the Travers and the Pacific Classic. And we'll pretty much have our answers, believe it or not, as far as who's probably going to be favored going in to the Breeders' Cup Classic in November, pending injuries. So there it is. That's the updated list. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll probably be back next week and have some rankings. And we're going to have rankings for other divisions coming out soon as well. So there's a lot to look forward to here on the channel when it comes to the Breeders' Cup, as it's creeping up on us, guys. So thanks, everybody, for watching this one, and we will definitely see you back here next week for more Breeders' Cup rankings.